And I understand you spoke to him just shortly before he was taken.
I was with Steve the morning he was kidnapped. I saw him off at about 7:30. And then minutes before he was kidnapped, he called me from inside Syria to tell me that he was in. And then minutes later, he was kidnapped by ISIS.
He knew the risks, and yet he did it. He repeatedly went out to tell people stories.
Well, Anderson, for the first time, we can say Stephen was sold at the border. Stephen's name was on a list that he had been responsible for the bombing of a hospital. This was false. Activists spread his name around.
He was sold at the border.
Yes, we believe that the so-called moderate rebels that people want our administration to support, one of them sold him probably for something between $25,000 and $50,000 to ISIS, and that was the reason that he was captured.
How do you know this?
We know this from our sources on the ground, that it happened so quickly that when he was kidnapped, they didn't have the time to mobilize those resources. Somebody at the border crossing made a phone call to ISIS, and they set up a fake checkpoint with many people, and Steve and his people that he went in with could not escape.
Someone who knew him, Janine Giovanni, is the Middle East editor of Newsweek magazine, a former friend of Steven Sotloff and colleague. She's in Paris, France tonight, and she joins me. Let me ask you about, what did he say about the risks of reporting from Syria? He knew what they were, clearly.
He wrote me a rather chilling message, one of the last ones I got, which was basically about how we're all very naive. One thing he had told me, which was, again, rather chilling, was that he was concerned that he had been on some kind of a list. And this was about the time that ISIS first started showing up, and were taking over various checkpoints that had been manned before by the Syrian rebels. And he felt that he had angered some of the rebels, he didn't know which ones, by taking footage of a hospital in Aleppo that had been bombed. And he was very concerned about this. But he still went back